Welcome everyone. Today we'll have a tier list for all the 5-star heroes in Genshin Impact. Now before we start, let me just say that this tier list is definitely by my own preference and playstyle. You can have a different tier list, and in this tier list, we didn't consider one of the factors being the character designs and cuteness. I mean, look at Klee here. We have a little replay of Klee. Look at her. She's running around. She's so cute, right? Look at the little arms. Okay, let's get into the tier list. Here is our tier list for all the 5-star characters in the game. We did not include a traveler here, keep in mind. The criteria that was used to create this tier list include the overall usefulness of the character. For example, how well can the character explore the map, achieve puzzles, and reach hard to get places, and how well can the character fight different mobs, bosses, world boss, and also the spiral abuse. The accessibility for the characters can be quite difficult because they're very rare in the game. For the sake of the 5-star tier list, we won't focus on this, but this will be used on the 4-star character tier list. Lastly, we'll look at the elemental and roles of each character. For example, Venti is a support and also Jin is a support healer. Some of the roles can be overlapping, and Diluc and Klee is fire. There can be cases of having 2 characters of the same element can help, but there can be other cases where having the same role of the character does not fit in a perfect team. If you want to understand the elements and roles of different characters in a party, make sure you check out the previous guide in the description below for how to make your perfect party with the characters you have. Going to the S tier of my tier list, I have Venti and Keqing. Now let's have a look what is the biggest reason I have those 2 characters on the top tier. Not only is Venti great in combat and in terms of crowd control, Venti's E-spell also allows you to fly into the air, which allows us to have access to places which usually will be very hard to get reach to. And this is one of the examples in the winery. In the closed beta, I was trying to access to this little oculi, but there's no way I could reach to the top of the building. And with Venti easily as that, I was able to fly up there. And this is not only all, this is also a great mechanics in combat. Here we'll be facing a world boss, which is the Aminal Hydrosis. You can find this on the map after reaching Adventure level 20. You can see how challenging the fight is, and this gets even more difficult as the boss going to the later phase of the game. The boss will start healing by sending out orbs in the air, and it's unreachable unless you have the ability to fly up. And for us, luckily enough, we have Venti. So before the boss casts any of the other spells, I was able to loot a lot of the healing orbs, which prevent the boss from healing. Now in normal mechanics, what's going to happen is the boss will strike us down with those turns. Those turns create an updrift. And before those turns mechanics even appear, I was able to loot half or maybe a third of the orbs, which guarantees that the boss does not get time to heal. This is a big factor because again in open beta, I was having trouble to collect all of those orbs on time. And because of that, the boss will be able to heal maybe 1/5 or maybe 1/4 of his HP. And this does take the fight longer into more consumables. So not only Venti is great in terms of exploration, it's also great for against boss mechanics and against certain elements as well. Similar to Venti, Keqing also have a maneuver skill which allows her to tag a location and teleport to the location. This could be very useful. Same as Venti, you can travel to places which you normally wouldn't be able to reach, or you can dodge boss mechanics and reach objectives during the boss fight. Let's have a look at that. You can hold on to Keqing's E-spell and then release to start a tag. After starting the mark, she can teleport to the mark. And this is very useful as you go into the exploration of the world. For example, you can teleport up to ledges, you can teleport a little further before you climb. And also for areas which you want to reach those geo-oculies in the air, Keqing can do that, similar to Venti. Now, the combat ability for Venti and Keqing on S+ tier can be similar or even slightly lower compared to Diluc and Xiao, but for their utility in boss and exploration, I have decided to put them slightly higher on my tier list. This is because in the early to mid game, exploration is a big part of the game. As we go into the mid and late stage of the game, we'll be looking at the S tier heroes with a lot of the DPS characters. Diluc and Xiao is 2 of the best DPS characters in the game. Currently, Xiao is not available until future banners. It is likely Xiao will appear in another month's time with a featured banner. Diluc and Xiao's normal attack also triggers the elemental ability with the E-spell. And if you happen to have Diluc or Xiao in the future banners, make sure you invest into those 2 characters first, because they will be the major source of damage in the team. Mona, on the other hand, is a catalyst user, and she is also a DPS character. Mona does not have the consistent damage potential similar to Diluc and Xiao, but because she's a catalyst user, her abilities excels in terms of area damage, taunting, and also controlling the enemies. Let's have a quick look at the Mona skill display. By pressing her E ability, Mona summons an AoE taunt which damages enemies over the time and also explodes in Hydra damage after a certain period of time. Let's have a look at this. So this is great because Mona is a mage. The utility allows her to pull enemies together and then do massive damage AoE against enemies. Lastly, Mona's ultimate has the potential to do massive damage AoE while she's taunting enemies, and also it allows for crowd control against smaller size enemies. Let's have a look at that. So over here we can see Mona's going to cast her ultimate, and afterwards enemies will be dragged into the air because they are considered smaller size enemies. This doesn't work with bigger size enemies with a massive shield against bosses, but it still does a decent size of damage and also AoE damage. Next up, we have one of the only 5-star healer in the game, which is QiQi. QiQi is great against enemies who are frozen, and she does healing over time as she attacks enemies. QiQi is also great as a support character. Her ultimate marks the enemy and deals cryo damage over time. This also heals the character that does damage to the target enemy, which is marked by QiQi. This allows you to swap QiQi out after her ultimate and then allows for a massive boost of healing for whatever characters you switch into the place against a marked enemy. The last hero on our tier list is going to be the mystery hero Ayaka. I have left Ayaka in the S tier because although there is a duplicate element with QiQi as a cryo as well, having 2 cryo on the team is not bad because they have different roles. QiQi is going to be a healer while Ayaka can be our DPS. Ayaka and QiQi also enjoys 15% critical rate increase with the elemental resonance of having 2 cryo characters on the team. Lastly, we'll touch on the 2 A-tier 5-star characters, which are Jing and Klee. I personally have Jing and I have used her multiple times. I don't think she's a bad character by any means. She heals a lot with her burst ultimate, and also she does damage over time. She can be a very good buffer, and having 2 animal characters on the team allows for stamina consumption reduction and also faster movement speed during exploration. So I can have Jing with the Traveler as wind. I'll also have Venti and Jing for the wind combination of resonance. The downside of Jing is that because she's a support healer and she doesn't deal that much DPS compared to the other 5-star characters, she is kinda in between. She does okay damage with her burst skill with E, and she does a bit of controlling. At the same time, Jing needs her ultimate to heal and does damage over time. The downside is, during a fight, I might be reluctant to use Jing's ultimate to heal because I need to find a good location to get AoE burst out. And similarly, I might not want to waste her heal on small occasions. So Jing is not a default healer that has her healing abilities available all the time, compared to some of the 4-star characters like Barbara, who has 2 healing abilities. Jing's E spell does damage while her ultimate heals, and it's hard to pick the best timing to use her ultimate. Because if you use it too soon, her ultimate might seem to be a waste, and if you use it too late, you might have taken too much damage or you might have lost the character by that time. That said, Jing is still a very good character. I will still rank her very highly, but for the sake of the tier list between the 5 stars, I have left her on the A tier over here. Similar to Jing, Klee also have the problem of clashing elements with Diluc. Let's have a look at Klee's abilities, and over here we can see Klee's normal attack, which throws up bombs at enemies. This is not bad, and also her attack speed seems to be quite rapid. The downside is her ability compared to Diluc does not have a charge ability that does damage over time like the swipes from Diluc. What Klee does is she will actually charge up and shoot a laser like this. This does again great AoE damage, but the downside is it's not sustainable. Klee's E ability is to throw out a bomb at an enemy and then explodes into smaller bombs that becomes mines on the floor. Let's have a look at that. We can see that bomb bounces 3 times and does pyro damage, then flies into smaller bombs. You can also combine with other characters that sucks enemies in that deals massive damage with the bombs. But the downside is, as a DPS character, Klee will be reliant on this spell. The good thing is, it is not too long, so having those casted multiple times, you can do a lot of damage if you maneuver properly. Let's compare those to Diluc. As we can see, Diluc has a wide range of attack and he can do up to 4 rapid slashes with his normal attack. When Diluc charges his ability, he will start to do multiple slashes and this consumes stamina, but as you can see, he does this rapidly. Compared to Klee that does one-shot AoE, this seems to be more for DPS and more damage. Diluc's E ability allows for 3 consecutive times of E/his ability, which is at your own disposal. You can press the hold key 3 times, and this allows him to do 3 different slashes. Finally, Diluc's ulti does a wide range of slash, then summons a fiery phoenix towards the enemy. This does massive damage to the enemies, and this is a burst damage. After casting his ultimate, Diluc also enhances his blade with fire for the next 8 seconds. He also does damage over time for 60% of his attack damage. So you can see that not only he has the burst potential, he's got a constant fire debuff towards the enemy as well, after he casts his ultimate. Klee will summon a small fire torrent which does 42.6% damage per second for 10 seconds. Compared to Diluc's burst ability with his Phoenix, this little torrent follows the target and does damage over time for 10 seconds. The downside is you do not get the burst potential, the positive side is you get more sustained damage over time. To summarize this tier list, I do believe each of the 5-star characters are great in their own unique ways, and if we are lucky enough to get 1 or 2 of those 5-star characters, we can then start considering building around those characters for a better team. If you want a better team guide, make sure you check our previous guide on how to build around DPS, support and healer characters to make sure we have the best team for mid and late game. Let me know what you guys think about the tier list. I know this is more of a personal preference, and if we look into a tier list of cuteness, I do believe Klee and QiQi would definitely be the top of my tier list. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you found my video helpful and want to see future videos on Genshin Impact, make sure you subscribe and click the little bell over there for more videos to come. As always, I wish you guys best of luck in gathering the 5-star characters and have the most fun in the game. Take care everyone, I'll see you guys next time.